Well, hello there, friends. It's Lindbergh, your bad couch guru. And today we're going to talk about the topic of active rest. Yeah, what the heck even is this whole active rest thing? And what does it have to do with chronic illness? And it just gets so confusing when I start reading about exercise plans and working with trainers. And they're like, you need to have exercise days and rest days, but now have an active rest day. Like, what the heck is that? Yes. Okay. So first, we're going to talk a little bit about what traditionally active rest is. And then we're going to translate it into what does active rest look like for someone with chronic illness or somebody who's recovering from an injury and getting back into exercise, and how it looks different. The reason this is important is because if you've got a chronic illness, you have an injury and you're getting back into it, or you are completely out of shape or have a new medical diagnosis, if you take the traditional active rest definition, excuse me, and just blindly apply it to your life, it's not going to serve you well, and you're going to end up more frustrated with exercise. And that's the last thing we want, is for you to feel more frustrated with this whole exercise thing. So we're going to help make sense of all of that in just a couple minutes. All right. So active rest, active recovery. Usually the traditional definition of that is in the context of people who are already in good shape or who are exercising or have been for at least several months. They've got their exercise plan. They are exercising maybe 5 days a week. And on those 2 days a week that they aren't doing like really big, intense exercise efforts, they're rest days. And sometimes people just get antsy. And they want to do more. And so they want to go in and I want to exercise 7 days a week. But the problem is when you exercise hard, your body is in a way tearing itself down when you exercise really hard. Now, that sounds bad, but it's really not all bad. Because when you tear your body down in some ways, when you work so hard that your muscles get sore, or you work so hard that you get fatigued, it sends your body a signal that says, hey, we need to make this part of this person's body stronger. And so when you go to sleep or when you rest, that's when your body builds up those areas because it got the signal they need to be stronger. And so that's why we have these rest days. So some people, though, eventually build up to such a level of physical fitness, they're running miles a day or they're doing great big workouts, that their ability and capacity to exercise just becomes more and more and more. So then on their rest days, these individuals actually can do something like walk several miles, and it's no big deal at all. It doesn't impact the body at all. It doesn't feel like no tearing down is happening here. Or they can go for, an quote unquote easy run, which I still don't know what that is. But people can do it, and it's considered active rest. So they're exercising to the degree that it gets their body moving. But for that individual, because they're in such amazing shape, that active movement they're doing is doing nothing to tear them down. And so when they go to sleep, there isn't this whole big recovery thing that really needs to be happening. So it's a little more complex than that, but that's essentially it in a nutshell. Now, what does that mean to individuals who have chronic illness or people who have been injured and are away from it for a while, or are in horribly out of shape, or maybe you got a new diagnosis, or all kinds of things, right? Active rest essentially doesn't apply to you, except that your scale of what's exercise versus what's active becomes much more narrow. And this sounds bad, but it's not bad. It's just talking about where we're really at today, right? And when we can see where we're at today, that is information, and information is power that's going to help us progress injury-free and with a smile. And injury-free is our fastest path to success. So those of us who've got chronic illnesses where maybe your big active exercise for the day is walking to the mailbox and back, or unpacking the dishwasher, right? And the rest of the day you're in bed and that's it. If that's where you're at, the concept of active rest doesn't really apply to you. You already know you got to move your body as much as you can, but right now what you can do is incredibly limited. If you are, getting back into being in shape, and you don't have any health issues otherwise, which isn't very few of us, then you're going to more quickly get into that area of where I have exercise days and I have more rest days. So for basically my couch to active friends here, myself included, active rest really isn't something we need to be concerned about. What we want to be concerned about is having days where we're doing what our body can do and we're pushing it a little bit. We're pushing it in a safe way. So we're pushing it so we don't have our chronic illness flare up. We're pushing it so we don't have fibro flares. We're pushing it so we don't trigger migraines. But we're constantly experimenting and pushing here and there as much as we can in order to discover what we can do so we can get more and more movement into our days. So then we can eventually do more and bigger types of movements and physical feats. So then our bodies give us more freedom to do things day in and day out. That's kind of our goal and what we're trying to do. So the active rest thing then becomes important to us if we have a day where we say, okay, I'm not going to push myself, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to give myself permission to lay in bed or on the couch all day, every day, without any getting up and movement at all. So that's the tricky piece, is we want to, chronic illness friends and others, we want to move our bodies 7 days a week. And so our exercise plans look totally different than a traditional exercise plan. And our active rest days, we really don't so much in the beginning have big exercise versus big rest days. We pretty much have do what you can days versus have compassion for the do what you can't days, right? Or don't do what you can't days, or yeah. So that's the whole active rest thing for you there and what it is. And of course, the dream is that the body will respond and it'll heal and it'll get better. And then active rest will become a part of your life in your day. But for now, for today, if that's where you're at with chronic illness, active rest is not something you need to even worry yourself about. Alrighty, friends, have a great day, and we will see you tomorrow with a listener question. Bye-bye now. If you really related to this whole chronic illness and active rest thing, head on over to couchtoactive.com, sign up for the 4-week exercise plan, and I will help you get started with this whole exercise thing. That's couchtoactive.com.